Ooh, oh boy. Oh boy, Mike's in the house. Let's go Chiefs. And I am late. I am late, so I want to apologize for that. It's actually funny. I'm sitting here and I just slammed an energy drink. I got coffee and I got water. And I literally just spilled my coffee, which I'm furious about because I just got brand new carpet. Why that's important is because if you noticed in my last two videos, I have some audio issues. It's long and short of it is it's a bad computer port. So, man, but I'm jacked up. I just slammed an energy drink. I went to the gym, had some pre-workout mix, and now I got coffee, so I am jacked up. So welcome to the DANshow, man. Welcome to the live stream. And of course, what you want to talk about is what we're going to talk about. I do not need anybody. I don't need any help talking football. I can literally talk football for hours and hours on end. So speaking of that, is there anything going on in the NFL? Is there anything happening? That's right. That's right. In about 24 hours, we are going to kick off the Chiefs Texans. We're going to kick off the NFL season. We're going to talk about that quite a bit. If you've been watching my videos, you know I have action on the game. I got 54 and a half. Before I kick into that, though, let's talk about some of the things that have gone on in the league here. Really bad news, and I was kind of disappointed on social media. Some Chiefs fans took some shots. Not many, but a few did. Von Miller's probably out for the year. This is terrible. I had the Broncos finishing third. I had them finishing behind the Raiders and of course Kansas City, but this is really bad. I thought they were in really, really good shape. He put in, here's life is a gamble. He put in on the chat here. He put this in here before it started. So welcome, guys. Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you're here. As always, we will talk about what you want to talk about. So, all right. Hey, life is a gamble. Let me know how I can help you. If you need help for the Thursday night game, we can talk about that here. But hit me up. You can always email me, and I'll do everything I can. So, man, I'm glad you guys are in the house. Mike, I'm actually really glad. But let me just talk about this Von Miller thing here. Alex is in the house, and man, yes, Alex. If you didn't watch my video already, I have action on the game. I was very lucky. I got 54 and a half. I have the over. So let me ask you, I don't know if you do any sports betting or not. How do you feel about over 54 and a half points? As far as the Texans taking that game, you know what? Let's just dive right in. I had some news I wanted to talk about, but I'll skip those points here and let's just get into the Texans Chiefs. Some really big contract signings here. I got 54 and a half. So that's why I took the bet. If you watched my video, I got 300 on over 54 and a half and a 2-game parlay. I got the Raiders at 2.5. So if they go under 54 and a half, I'm down 400. So, and that's why you follow me, is because I put my money where my mouth is. But there's two big things that happened in the NFL I want to talk about, and that's first, let's start off with DeAndre Hopkins signing that 2-year, $54.5 million contract. That's directly related to Deshaun Watson signing that 4-year, $160 contract. Here's what you got with the Houston Texans, okay? Watson signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension. That's a good deal for both teams, by the way. I really feel like Watson, if he really wanted to play hardball, he probably could have got 170, 180. And this is huge because Lamar Jackson, if he has another season close to what he did last year, what's he going to ask for? And unrelated completely, this also screws the Dallas Cowboys because the Dallas Cowboys didn't even want to pay 40. And that's kind of what, if you're Dak Prescott, that's kind of your starting point for your $160 million contract. I thought Watson actually could have asked for more. I think it's actually a team friendly deal, and it's $40 million a year, but it's a team friendly deal. It really is. But here's your drill. This offseason, Tunsil, 3-year, $66 million deal. Zach Cunningham, 4-year, $58 million deal. Roby, 3-year, $31.5 million deal. Eric Murray, 3-year, $18 million deal. Excuse me. All that money. You also have Whitley Merciless, 4-year, $54 million deal. J.J. Watt, almost underpaid. That 6-year, it's over $100 million. But I just named 5 players. Well, actually, Murray's 3-year, $18 million. So I was going to say 5, but I just named 4. That 4 Texans defensive players are making over $10 million a year. Actually, with those numbers, except for Roby, who's making over 10. Watt's making over 16. Same with Whitley Merciless. Cunningham and his deal's making about 14, actually 14.5. But I mean, there's a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball. And then you have Watson signing. I think it's a pretty good deal for the Houston Texans for your $160 million deal. Bottom line, you have all those numbers, and Golden Rooster. I'm glad you enjoyed it, bro. But bottom line, you have all that money, and that's why you couldn't keep Hopkins around. A lot of people really trashed the Houston Texans and Bill O'Brien because he got rid of Hopkins for almost nothing. But look what you're getting in return. You know, you're able to sign Watson, Tunsil, Cunningham, Roby, Murray. Alex, as you've done a fantastic job in here, you know, bottom line, you're right. You're 100% correct. I don't think if I'm sorry, let me switch gears here. If I'm Dak Prescott, I take less than that. If I'm Prescott, I would have signed a 4-year, $140 million deal, which I think Jerry Jones, that's $35 million a year. And I think they offered that. I think it was 5-year, 35. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I would have signed that if I was Prescott because you have enough talent on the Cowboys. If you take a team-friendly deal to do great, I'm going to tell you something. If you've never been to Dallas before, if you are an athlete and you live in Dallas and the Cowboys are winning, it is a great town to be in. Dallas is a lot of fun if you've never been there. Dallas is a lot of fun, and it's a football town. It's a good town to be in when you're making money because the endorsement deals is really where you can make a lot of extra cash. So, but I don't think Dak's going to get what he wants, and I don't think the Cowboys really want to pay him. I think they're using this as an excuse to kind of move on. You know, there's some good quarterbacks coming out, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys just say, you know what, we're going to go with the rookie quarterback. So, well, you know, life is a gamble. You have a really good point, but one thing that you're kind of omitting, and this is something that a lot of people are admitting, is that the Chiefs last year, the run defense really took a step up. Reggie Ragland, they promoted from a backup because he's a 3-4 inside linebacker. He doesn't fit in the 4-3 defense. They went ahead and inserted him late in the season to a starter on the outside, and they kind of switched their defense around. They got a little creative, and he's a run stuffer. And then once they put him into the defense, the Chiefs defense really skyrocketed. He went to Detroit. I don't even think he's going to start in Detroit. I have to get a hold of my boy, Luke G. By the way, Luke G Field Review, if you're a Detroit Lions sports fan, you've got to check it out. You got to check it out. I spilled coffee everywhere. I just got brand new carpet, and I spilled coffee everywhere. It looks like a Cowboys cup. It's not, Alex. It's not. By the way, Alex just joined, and he just started following me, I want to say last week, and he is a Texans fan. And I love it too. I absolutely love it. He's had some great comments. And I'm thinking about doing a live stream Friday, whether the Chiefs win or lose. Alex, I hope you're able to join. And here's the thing, you got a good point. I know a ton of Cowboys fans, and one thing is that it was funny. They hated Jason Garrett, and I couldn't understand why. You know what? I went to William Hill Sportsbook in Iowa, and I put 1,700 down. I put down 1,700, and matter of fact, Alex, if you missed the video, I got 250 on the Texans over 7.5 wins. I really wanted to put more money down. I just wasn't able to. My bankroll was capped at 1,700, so I put down 1,000 for the yearly over-unders and then 700 on week one. Normally, I only want to do 5, but I love the over-under for the Chiefs. And then also have 100 on a 2-game parlay. So if it's under 54.5, I'm going to be down 400. I'm going to repeat that a couple times probably. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing a live stream Wednesday and Friday. That way we can break down Thursday. And then Friday, we'll talk about the Chiefs Texans game. And then we'll also break down every game with week one. So you know, life is a gamble. That might be on me. And what happened is this weekend. Okay. Actually, you know what? Seriously, guys, if there's an audio problem, please let me know, because here's the drill. I finally got new carpet. The thing is, though, I had to move everything, so I had to unplug my computer, put it back together, and the speakers wouldn't work. So I went out and I got some new speakers yesterday. And there was all sorts of audio problems. There still is audio issues. If you listen to my videos or I did them just kind of, it took some effort. But bottom line, I got new speakers. They don't sound right. I think from now on, when I do my videos, I'm just going to use headphones into my microphone. But it's a small pop. It is me. It is me. Yeah, and I apologize, guys. That's actually on that's on my end, and I'm gonna do everything I can to get it rectified. I apologize. So okay, good. It doesn't bother Golden Rooster. Bottom line, if you guys tune in, I should be able to produce a quality product. I think my knowledge is quality. It's just that are my videos top notch? So. Yeah, exactly. And what it is that I haven't isolated it. I think it's a problem with the port in my computer, because when I put everything back together, I kept on getting these pops in my videos. I had to play around with the audio. Excuse me for the first video. The second video, I just said screw it. You know, we'll just have the pops in there because it's sporadic. But yeah, that's something I probably won't be able to fix it for Friday, but next Wednesday I will have it fixed. So guys, I do apologize for the audio issues. So you know, man, that's the whole point of me doing a YouTube channel, is that there's so many YouTube channels out there that are fanboy channels. All right, you can go to YouTube and you can find a channel for every single team, and every single team. It's funny, like I'm gonna pick on Carolina here a little bit, because the guy, I'm not going to promote his show, but it's not a bad show. I've never been on it, but in the chat where you guys are chatting at right now, there was a question: what are Panthers going to finish? You know what I saw? 9-7, 10-6, 11-5. Win the South. All right. Oh, dude. Yeah. And exactly. So what I wanted to do when I created the channel is that I don't follow baseball. I don't follow basketball. It's funny. Some people I work with, they go around like, say something about yourself. So I say, hey, I got a, I'll leave that alone. Oh man. Oh dude. I have looked at some Miami channels, but here's the thing. You can go to all 32 teams and you get 32. Man, there's some Chiefs channels that have Patrick Mahomes throwing for 15,000 yards and 200 touchdowns this year. I mean, it's bad. And then by the way, I'm going to rant here a little bit. There's this one. There's a couple of Chiefs channels where they swear up and down, I knew Mahomes was going to be this good. And I just, you know what, I'm going to say it, bullshit. Nobody knew Mahomes was going to be this good coming out of Texas Tech. Nobody. But how many Chiefs fans are going to sit there and tell you, oh, I knew he was going to be this good? Bullshit. And that's also part of the reason why you join the stream, because when I rebroadcast this, even though it's for 18 and older, YouTube's a little weird when you go ahead and cuss like that. So, you know what, Alex? If you can, if it's not too much of a problem, can you email me that show? And I wanna go ahead and follow it, because I'm looking for a Texan show. The one I followed last year was just terrible. No. Oh, by the way, Tim, by the way, guys, if you don't know this, I'm probably sure. My boy, Tim, how long have we known? I want to say 15 years. I've known you longer than your wife. Let's put it that way. But, no, I am not. We went ahead and retracted our season tickets. We have it going to next year. We didn't want to deal with the restrictions and everything. So, yeah. I don't want to say, Alex, but bottom line, the guy himself has a good show. Well, but he had a co-host for the playoffs that I took a dump about 30 minutes ago, and what I flushed down the toilet had more football knowledge than that guy. So, yeah. Really, Mike? Wow. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. But bottom line, that's the reason why I wanted to put a channel where we talk about 32 different teams. I didn't want to be a Chiefs fanboy. I didn't want to sit here and tell you that the Chiefs are winning. Do you remember that Saturday Night Live skit? I don't know, depending on how old some of you guys are. There was the super fans with the Bears, and they would predict that the Bears would win every game by like 300 points. You know, that's how I feel like every time I tune into another fanboy channel. So I wanted to create a channel where we talk 32 teams, because I was starting in a sentence and I wanted to talk to you guys and interact. But it's funny because I mentioned I have a YouTube channel and I talk football. So somebody came to me and talked about the Royals. I was like, I didn't even know baseball was going on. Somebody brought up basketball. I was like, I don't even know who's playing. I mean, I really don't. I don't follow any other sports. The only thing I would love to do, side note, is I would love to see a Vegas fight. I would love to see a Vegas big boxing match. It doesn't have to be a heavyweight fight, but that would be the only thing. And I'm not a boxing fan anymore. It used to be a long time ago, but the whole point of this show is I want to talk to 32 different fan bases and just talk football. I want to find all the ins and outs. But bottom line, the reason why I always tell people I'm an expert on football is because I put my money where my mouth is. All right. If you watch my other videos, I got $1,700 on the line for this year, $1,000 for the year, $700 week one. And there's a chance that there is a chance I'm going to look at some online, because the drive back was kind of miserable, but anyway, the big point is that exactly, Mike. And another thing is that I want to be able not only to say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and put my money where my mouth is. My favorite thing is that if I can make somebody some money, if I can point something out and say, man, put some money here. Oh, dude. Oh, well, you know, Tim, I don't know if you remember Sweet Pea Whitaker. He beat Oscar De La Hoya. If you, this is going old school. They fought in a fight, and anyway, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. You know what he does nowadays? Did you know he works for a company? He works for a gambling company. I'm going to call it a gambling company. It's one of these like they have like they used to have a show on a sports radio early in the morning on Sunday mornings. I used to listen to it, and then they have a deal where they give you one free game, and then you have to spend hundreds of dollars to get on. But that guy, and I can't remember his name, he's actually a part of it. Yeah, he actually does a sports gambling. 713. I'll check this out because that's not the channel I followed. There was a Houston Texans channel. That's not it. I'm not going to say who they are because the host is not bad, but his co-host is god awful. Golden Rooster, you are right. I never saw it, but I do remember they did make a movie. So man, I'm jacked up. I slammed an energy drink, spilled my coffee, but I'm still drinking coffee. So I just got done drinking an energy drink, but I'm going to drink coffee anyway. Now, before I break down the Chiefs Texans into a little more detail, because we talked about it a little bit already, I love the over. This is going to be a high scoring game. There's a few other things I want to go ahead and bring up here. Von Miller, of course, out for the year, it looks like. Now, here's the drill. He's going to meet with James Andrews, the famous surgeon, tomorrow. So Friday, hopefully he'll be able to come back. I know he's a Denver Bronco, but I always hate when star players get hurt like this. It's terrible. Danielle Hunter is going to start the season on IR. I've been predicting the Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North. They play against the Packers week 1 in Minnesota. That's a big loss. The Packers went from 9.5 to 9. I almost took action on the Packers over 9, but I haven't looked at that season, that week 1 game between Packers and the Vikings, how this is going to affect it. But he's out for a minimum of 3 weeks. And then, Mike, if you're still around, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Fournette to Tampa. I have been hounding and saying that I'm not buying the Brady going to Tampa and this being I will check this out, Golden Rooster, because I want to check out fans that actually know what they're talking about. I will check them out. I'll subscribe to them here this week, and if I get some time, I'll listen to them probably next week. But man, you're 100% correct. But here's the drill: Fournette is that Bruce Arians is always like bigger running backs, and that's something Ronald Jones didn't do. I was hoping Ronald Jones took a page out of Christian McCaffrey's book and bulked up about 20 pounds, because that's really what he needed to do. But you guys tell me, because you guys are Florida guys, is Ronald Jones still around 205, 210? Because he really needed to be around 220. And that's something he didn't do. Trust me, Leonard Fournette's going to get the majority of the carry sooner or later, and that's what really makes Tampa Bay dangerous. I have been saying I think Tampa Bay's a 9-7 team, and Mike's been like, "Oh man, you're sleeping way too much on them," and I am sleeping on Tampa Bay, because you're not getting Hall of Fame Brady. You're getting a Brady who can't really go downfield anymore. You're getting Rob Gronkowski. You're not getting best tight end in football, Rob Gronkowski. You're getting 31-year-old Rob Gronkowski, who's been retired for a year. You're not getting those elite players anymore, but you have a really, really good defense. Now you got Leonard Fournette, and bottom line, you can't put 7 in the box. I'm saying 7 because it used to be 8. Now it's 7 in the box. I know he's not. I know he's not, but he's going to get some touches, and I think he's going to have a huge impact. I think he's going to have a big impact, because bottom line, you can't it used to be 8 in the box. I think now it's 7 in the box. I think the way the game's played nowadays, that when you put 7 in the box, you're really trying to stuff the run. You can't do that against Tampa Bay. You can't. And then if you do want to go ahead and put a bunch of people in the backfield, double team either Evans or Godwin, you can switch to a run. I think Tampa Bay with Winston, you couldn't make those type of changes. You couldn't make those type of audibles. With Brady, you damn well can. So I really think that Tampa Bay could be more of a running team. Here's the thing about New England when they first started winning Super Bowls. how many of you remember Corey Dillon? He won like NFL MVP one year when they won the Super Bowl. Early on in Brady's career, they ran the ball, they played really good defense, and he was just good enough that they could win a couple Super Bowls. And later on, they took advantage of Brady's throwing. Now what you can do is you can run the ball 40, 50 times a game, but you can't put 7 in the box because you got Tom Brady. You have arguably the best pair of wide receivers in the National Football League, plus you have a pair of pretty good tight ends. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this a little more Friday, but Bucks and Saints, I think the line is, I want to say Saints are favored by 6. And I probably would take the Saints to cover. Mike Evans, by the way, Mike Evans is questionable. He may not play. I found a bunch of better. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Life is a gamble. Got it. Yeah. My buddy Tim works in a prison, so that's kind of funny. Hopefully you don't mind those personal details coming out, Tim, but this is a tight-knit community. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to breaking this game down. But so anyway, I'm gonna post this here. But yeah, it's going to be a great game. I'll break down Friday if we end up doing this. I'm like 90-something% sure we're going to do the show Friday, and I'm just going to have this be a weekly thing. But you hit the ball right out of the park there, Mike. And here's the thing. I think if I had to guess over under on touches, I'd say 8 for Fournette. I think Ronald Jones is going to get the majority of carries, but I think it's just a matter of time. Because here's the thing. Let's say you got going that 4-minute offense. All right. Yeah, you're up. Let's just say 4. So you're up by 4 minutes left to go in the game, and you got to run the clock out. Yeah, you can do that with Brady. Brady, you got a handful of quarterbacks that you feel comfortable throwing the ball, and you could do that, but who do you want running the ball if you got the lead? Ronald Jones or Fournette? Fournette's 240, and if he gets loose, he can score from anywhere on the field. He is really, really dangerous. He is really dangerous. Well, I'm going to be very clear. I'm very high on Jones. I loved him out of USC. I absolutely loved him. I just felt, I know he was coming out. They said he was 205, but I thought he was I think he played his last year at USC at like 195. And I really thought that he needed to put on more weight. And that was something that you saw Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey played at like 195 his last year at Stanford, and then he came into Carolina like 200, 205. And then last season he put on the 20 pounds of muscle. It was actually the Evander Holyfield workout. You want to go back in time where you have to do certain when you put on weight, you have to do certain activities at the same speed, or else you have to drop back down on the weight. I'm not going to get in a ton of detail, but it's an interesting way to put on weight. But basically, you have to be at a certain weight and still keep the speed. And that's something Ronald Jones, I was really hoping Ronald Jones would have came into Bucks camp at like 220. Because if so, I would have said, pencil Ronald Jones in for 350 touches. But he didn't do that. I think he probably is about 205, 210. So asking him to have 3 to 350 touches, that's a strain. But Leonard Fournette's naturally 235, 240. So that's something that I think later down the line is going to be really dangerous, because you're going to have Fournette who's going to be healthy. Case in point, Derrick Henry. He missed I think 1 or 2 games earlier in the year. Remember, he sat out of that Saints game before I think it was week 16 and then week 17, and then those 2 playoff games he had over 200 yards because he was healthy and hungry and ready to go. So you could have Fournette who's healthy, who's not facing the 7-8 man boxes, just be deadly late in the season. Tampa Bay is a team that let's just say they go 9-7, like I think they could. Now I'm thinking more like maybe 10, 11 wins. You get Tampa Bay in the playoffs with Fournette completely healthy, That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. Um, yeah. Hey, Tim, man. Hey, that's the whole point of joining the show. We talk about it. I think so. I was a little concerned about it too, but one thing about Mahomes is that his biggest attribute is from the neck up. Remember, his dad was a major league baseball player, so he's been growing up in locker rooms his whole life. I really think that he's been able to handle things well. It's a very minor thing, but one of the things I loved about Mahomes is right after he was drafted, he went to a Royals game with Kelsey and I forget the other player, but it was funny. It was funny. Mahomes was in the background, and Kelsey was front center. Now, of course, Mahomes would be front and center, but instantly befriended Kelsey and instantly came in and said, "Hey, I'm just going to be. I'm not superstar. I'm not even starting," and behaved as that. He didn't come in. For example, Brett Favre, that first year in Atlanta, apparently he made comments in the quarterback room after watching Chris Miller throw some passes. He's like, man, I'll be starting by midseason, and didn't have the right mindset. And then he went to Green Bay, developed the mindset, became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Mahomes has the right mindset, and I think in the right locker room. As far as the social issues, man, that's a tough one because I don't want to veer too far off topic here, but players that want to make a change is a good thing. And if you don't know the story, the best story of anybody, of any professional athlete is Alan Page. And Alan Page used to never sign autographs. And the reason why is he said that he thought it was silly for somebody to want his autograph because he was good at a game. And he used his time in the NFL to study law, and he became the very first Black Supreme Court justice for the state of Minnesota. And apparently, in his office or chambers, there's nothing football related, absolutely nothing. And he dedicated his life to social justice, and he's done a fantastic job. And I wish more people would do that. I'm kind of going. I love what Alan Page did. Off the field, and he's just part of Purple People Eaters. And if he wins one Super Bowl, we may be talking about him being the greatest defensive lineman of all time. So to answer your question, Tim, I think Mahomes will be ready to go, and I expect a really good game tomorrow. And then hopefully you'll be back Friday. Man, I got some great comments here today. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And the only reason I'm not putting action on that is I know Kamara sat out a little bit. Mike Evans is questionable. Drew Brees in the past, the Saints have done this before where, excuse me, they come out flat week one. They've done this a couple of times. So that I do think that you're right, but I'm not going to put action on it because I've seen it go the opposite way. I've seen the Saints just lay a duck or lay an egg week one. So that's kind of why I'm not putting action on it. But hopefully that will be a really, really fun game. I agree with you, Alex. The thing is with Big Ben is that he doesn't need to be the same Big Ben. He just has to be better because the Steelers are going to kind of wean away from being a passing team to trying to, score 30 points a game. They're going to be more old school. They're going to run the ball a little more. The defense is loaded. Pittsburgh's an interesting team. They're not nearly as good as Baltimore, but they're also a team that I think they'll be a 9-7, 10-6 type team that you really don't want to play in the playoffs because they have a lot of good young talent on defense. As far as Gronk, he doesn't need to be the same player. I would be curious how it's going to affect OJ Howard. For those of you that are draft junkies, I remember when he came out of Alabama, he was the highest rated tight end I've ever seen. I mean, the dude I thought he was going to be a superstar, and he just hasn't blossomed. I'm kind of hoping that he can kind of blossom because the talent's just ungodly, I'm starting to buy into Tampa Bay, but I really think Fournette's really key to that team. I think that was a great signing. Another minor signing is they signed Josh Rosen, who I think has a lot of talent, just been in two really, really bad situations. Yeah, lay a duck. What the hell am I thinking? Yeah, I'm a little off. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I think we're still talking about the Tampa game. Yeah, I'm hoping it's a shootout. I mean, I think every fan is hoping it's a shootout, but I'm not putting action on it. I am curious about the Mike Evans situation. If you are putting action on it, be very, very careful because Mike Evans is questionable, and he may lay a duck. I can't believe I said that either. But so let's talk a little bit about Thursday night, and you know what, it's actually funny. Some guy towards the end of the season, I retweeted one of my old tweets because I thought Rosen was a much better prospect than Lamar Jackson. Yeah. I look like an idiot. So he reposted that, and I was like, "This is like 19 months old." So I just fired back. You're trolling me on a 19-month-old tweet. You're going that far back. But yeah, I did say it. I blocked the dude because I don't have time for that shit. But I mean, Rosen going to Tampa Bay is a great move. It really is. So I'm going to talk about this in a second here, but I'm talking about Rosen. I think it's a great move. I actually liked him more than Baker Mayfield. I thought he was going into a good situation in Arizona. He sits behind Sam Bradford for a year, and then they just released Bradford. I don't think he's been on a season at all or been on a team at all after that. He played like 4 games, and they just got rid of him, and they gave him like $20 million just to go away. So Rosen was in a really bad situation, goes to Miami. He didn't really take advantage of that situation. I don't know if the guy's just a real jerk or what, but I think going sitting for a year or two behind Tom Brady is brilliant. I mean, this could be Tampa Bay's starter in a couple years, and it's a great move because you're picking him up for almost nothing. So I do like Tampa. Tampa Bay's done a lot of really good things besides picking up Brady and Gronk. So I've been kind of trashing Tampa Bay, and Mike has been telling me, Dan, I think you're sleeping on them. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stay over here and be different. But then, Fournette, and then I'm like, you know what, with Fournette, oh boy. Because here's the thing with Bruce Arians, he's an old school guy. He wants to run the ball. And then he wants this quarterback to throw deep. That's not Brady's strength. So I don't think that meshes. But Fournette meshes with an Arians offense. So that's something that really, really scares me because, or if I was an anti-Tampa Bay fan, it would really scare me. That should scare the rest of the NFC, especially the NFC South. I got the Saints over 10.5. So hopefully the Saints will win that game. All right, Mac is going to be back on track. You know what, Tim? What's more important? Well, maybe not more important, but Robert Quinn is going to be on the other side, and Robert Quinn is going to be he's really a 4-3, but both Quinn and Mac are 4-3 ends, are playing 3-4 outside linebackers, and they're both suited. Robert Quinn might be the best player on that defense, not Mac. Robert Quinn's really good. He is 30. He missed the first 4 games of last year. Then he led the Cowboys in sacks, and then the Cowboys got rid of him. That's a big loss for the Cowboys. So, Alex, I don't know if you're still listening or not, but that's something that Dallas did not address in the offseason. And Robert Quinn's a beast. And you have Khalil Mack on the other side. So, the thing is, and then you also got Roquan Smith. He started 14 games, had 123 tackles. I love this guy out of Georgia. I just didn't think he was a fit for a 3-4 defense because he's a smaller linebacker. But that's the new trend in the NFL is that you run a 3-4 with small, fast inside linebackers. But that linebacking core that Chicago has is awesome. Plus, you have Eddie Jackson back there. The corners are okay. Trubisky won the starting job, which I didn't touch base on. I thought he would. Now keep in mind, if you don't remember, Nick Foles and Matt Nagy were together in Kansas City, so Foles knows that offense. And by the way, Trubisky's not signed past this year, so it'll be kind of interesting to see. But the Bears are an interesting team. I would not sleep on the Bears. And the reason why I say that is they got talent at receiver. I really like Montgomery coming out of Iowa State. They didn't really use him a lot, but if Montgomery plays to the level, I loved him coming out of Iowa State. I thought he was going to be a great player. They didn't really give him a lot of opportunities. The offensive line, so. There is a chance that Chicago could win that division. The over-under is 8. I would definitely take the over. As far as being the monsters in the midway, they it's funny. The 85 Bears, they're, if you had to give, it wasn't really a weakness, but the less good part of their defense was the corners, and that's the same thing with this Bears defense. That linebacking core though, with Mack, Quinn, Roquan Smith, I think Danny Trevathan is the other inside linebacker. He can play, and he's probably coming off on third down. So the Bears are an interesting team. Don't sleep on the Bears at all. Fournette's in the plans. I like I said earlier, I put the over under on touches at 8. I'd be shocked if he played a lot. But I will say this: if it's a close game, 4-minute offense, put Fournette in. If it's a close game, you got to hold on to a lead against the Saints defense. Yeah, I've said this a lot, and it's funny. I know a lot of Cowboys fans. This is not a year to be a Cowboys fan. I keep listening to the hype, but I'm telling you right now, they lost some players on the defensive side of the ball, but you brought in Mike Nolan, who wants to run a 3. The 3-4 and the Tampa 2 defense are polar opposites. And that's what Nolan wants to run, is a 3-4, and they ran the Tampa 2 for a long time. So I really don't see it. So and Alex, this is why I put 300 on the over. I got 54.5, which is a good, if you know anything about sports betting, 54.5 is a big number, but the Chiefs the last 3 years have scored 42, 38, and 40 points in season openers. So it's averaged of 40 points. I think the NFL wants to see a high-scoring game. I don't care what anybody says. I think the NFL was pissed that the Bears and Packers was a 10-3 game. It actually was a decent game, but I don't think the NFL wants to see 10-3 at all. I don't think they want to see it. And I think that's why you put the Chiefs and Texans to open up the season. I think they want to shoot out. I think they want a good game. And I think it's important that this ends up being a good game. I don't see a blowout one way or another. That's why I avoided the line. I think it was at 10. I know it was at 10. I think it might have been 9.5. If I had to put action down on a team, I would put the Texans to cover. I would be shocked if the Chiefs lose this game, because Andy Reid's 6-1 in season openers. Andy Reid's really good on Chiefs season openers, but they are missing Breland. He's going to miss the first 4 games, and it's 4 tough opponents too. I mean, the Chargers, keep in mind, I'm maybe not a tough opponent, but they're opening up that new stadium, which is going to be empty, but it's no longer going to be a sea of red. If you're not familiar, the last couple of years they've been playing in a soccer stadium, the Chargers have, and every Chargers game there's been more Chiefs fans. I'm not exaggerating either. Go back and watch them, and you'll see that it's been more Chiefs fans and Chargers fans. So it's, even though it's a road game, there's more Chiefs fans, and that's going to be completely different. It's going to be completely different. Really. You think he gets a minimum of 10, huh? I'm not sure. I could see that. Here's the thing. Bruce Arians really likes big running backs. He really likes big running backs, and that was a big reason I thought when they got rid of Peyton Hillis or Peyton Barber, I'm sorry. I was like, okay, they're sold with Ronald Jones, but I really thought it was because he put on weight. I don't see that. I'm not hearing anything about the 20 pounds of extra muscle that you heard when McCaffrey did it. And that was something that was really important. I think that having a 200, I cannot tell you how dangerous it is to have a running back who's 235, 240 with breakaway speed. So, oh man, you guys, this is absolute gold here. About life is a gamble. I don't know. I do think if it's a close game late and Tampa has the lead, yeah, I do think he gets it. But I think if it's a shootout, then I think you'll see a lot more Ron Jones. Be very interesting. I do have the Texans as my favorite in the AFC South. I do think they'll win that division. I think the two best teams in the AFC are Kansas City and Baltimore. I really do. I think it's those two, and then everybody else is just on a different tier. But the difference is that I think Watson can play in the playoffs. I don't think Lamar can. Lamar Jackson's looked horrid. Watson isn't the reason why the Texans lost that game. Watson, I think, can play in the playoffs. I'm not sure Lamar Jackson can. So it is going to be very strange, Tim. It's going to be very strange, but I think the energy and the excitement is really going to come through. I don't think that playing in empty stadiums is really going to affect these guys as much as people think. I think it's actually going to be really cool. I think it's going to be really cool. I think that we're going to see some really good football because there has been no preseason, no inter-squad scrimmages or anything like that. In the past, it's always been, from a gambling perspective, you want to go with unders as a general rule of thumb. I think it's going to be different. I think it's going to be very explosive. I think we're going to see a lot of high-scoring games. So hopefully the Chiefs do the job, but it's more important that the over is covered, 54.5. So, and by the way, you'll see my reaction Friday if I'm bummed out from being down $400. You'll be able to see it, and you can make fun of me. You're more than welcome to do that. That happened with the Chargers. I know the Chiefs, as far as I don't know if the Broncos and Raiders had as many fans as the Chiefs did, but if you go back, the NFL Network's rebroadcasting. Go back and watch the Chargers Chiefs the last couple of years when they're playing in that soccer stadium. There was more red, and it was basically a home game for the Chiefs. You're going to lose that, and that's something that when the NFL came out with the schedule, I thought the Chiefs' first 4 games was going to be tough. You get the Texans. Yet the Chargers opening up their brand new stadium, first game of the season, they're going to play at Cincinnati. By the way, they're going to win that game. Spoiler alert. Then Baltimore, and then they come back at home and play the Patriots. A tough 4-game stretch. That I'm curious if that's going to change with the new stadium. I think so. I do think so, and I had the Saints winning that division pretty easily, but I actually thought the Falcons and Tampa Bay were about neck and neck. I kind of like the Falcons a little more, but with Fournette, I'm going to switch that. I think Tampa Bay would be second fiddle in that division. Even if Tampa Bay wins this game against the Saints, I still think the Saints are going to win that division. And as you've been watching my videos, I got the Saints over 10.5 wins. So, but yeah, you should be scared of Fournette. He adds a different element. Like I said, I would put the 8. I would put touches at 8 for week 1. But the Atlanta, Seattle, that's going to be a fun game, and we'll break that down more Friday. But yeah, you should be afraid of Fournette. Absolutely. Wow. I got the Patriots. I got action on the Patriots over 9. I think the Patriots are going to win the East. But I don't want to play the Patriots in the playoffs. I don't think anybody should. The defense is going to be good. It'll be interesting to see what they do on offense. The Steelers are going to be a dangerous team. You are correct. But I think Baltimore is the team you really got to fear in the AFC. They talked about getting creative, but at the same time, Lamar Jackson's also missed some games. So it'll be interesting to see uh, what goes on. But it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year. Well, I'm curious what they're going to do defensively because he's the former defensive line coach. So I think that they're going to run. If you tell me because you're a Texans fan, Bill O'Brien's going to run that offense. And here's what they did. If they got Will Fuller and they got ran a 4.33, went to Oregon State, won the $100,000 from Adidas for fastest 40 time. Brandon Cooks, sorry. You got Reggie Cobb, you got Kenny Stills. So it's almost like they're running. Remember the old school run and shoot? But they're going with smaller receivers. It's almost like they're going to run a spread type of college offense, which I think could be really exciting with Deshaun Watson. You could see Deshaun Watson have a huge year. He could actually have better numbers. But on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be interesting because you're taking a guy who's a Romeo Crennel disciple, but is he still going to run that Romeo Crennel defense? I think the big thing that you want to do if you're the Houston Texans is Romeo Crennel's defense was famous for being extremely difficult. I think what the Texans may want to do is just cut the playbook almost in half, dumb down this defense and make it a lot more simple because I just went over all the money that they got on the defensive side of the ball. You can't have a 20-something ranked defense. Not with the amount of money and the amount of players. There's some really good players on this Texans defense. Really good player. Yes. Yeah, Tim. We need to have another blackjack trip one of these days. I haven't played in a while, but I've been itching. I'm gonna play some blackjack soon. Hopefully with the gambling winnings I got here. I believe that. I didn't think about that, but you're probably correct. Unfortunately, that's an interesting comparison. And he kind of does. I was very adamant that I didn't like the pick. I really wanted DeAndre Swift. Swift, I think, would have been a better fit. But the one thing I will say is that one of the things I really like about CEH is that he has really good pass blocking ability, and he's also thicker. A lot of people think because he's short that he's not a powerful dude. That's not correct at all. He's about 5'7", but he's 210 because he has a lower center of gravity. He can handle 20 to 25 touches. I think the Chiefs really want to run the ball more. So hey, you're kind of right. I guess that's an excellent comparison. Actually, it's one I didn't really think of, but I'm going to get blasted because if he has a great game, I'm going to get blasted with people saying, "Oh, he gave the Chiefs draft a C-." Yeah, because everybody had him going in the second and third round. Chiefs didn't need drafting in the first round. I'm going to stand by it. I really wanted Swift instead. However, who can handle 20 carries better, CEH or Swift? And the answer is CEH. So I kind of get that. But keep in mind, when we drafted him, we thought we had Damian Williams, who a lot of people thought should have won MVP. And that's not correct either. Yeah, he had over 100 yards, but that final touchdown to put the Chiefs up 31-20, he actually should have took a knee. He should have just slid. Now, I'm kind of getting off track here, but oh man, yeah. I think Watson will have a big game. Hey, listen, hey James, if you're not aware and you didn't watch the video, I got technically 400. I got 300 on over 54.5, and then I have 100 on the 2-game parlay. I actually think Watson does have a good game. Rashad Breeland is out. I kind of like what the Texans are doing with the 4 wide receivers they got. They got fast, small guys. William Fuller, when healthy, is a number 1 wide receiver. Brandon Cooks, when healthy, is the number 1 wide receiver. Both of them are healthy. Fuller ran a 4.31. Cooks ran a 4.33. They have a ton of speed. And with that speed, you can allow David Johnson. I think David Johnson actually could have a big game. I think that he'll have about 25, 30 touches, and it'll be interesting. I mean, hopefully the Chiefs win, don't get me wrong, but I think Watson will have a big game. I really do. Yeah, exactly. I don't remember his name, but he's the defensive line coach. He's been with Romeo Crennel for a long time, and I'm kind of curious if how much he's going to tweak that defense, or is he just going to leave it alone? Excuse me. Universally, though, because remember, Romeo Crennel was here in Kansas City for a long time. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. And I remember many Chiefs players saying it takes like almost 2 years to really get the system down because it's a really read and react type of defense. It's not very aggressive, and so that's another thing is that I'm a firm believer that on defense, the less thinking you do, the better. You don't really want to play a chess game. You really want them to attack, especially with the talent that they have. There's a lot of length and there's a lot of athleticism on this defense. So let it fly. Don't have them think. So it'll be I'm kind of curious what they're going to do. But if they're going to run the same type of defense, good news is you have some continuity there. If I'm you, I'm hoping that this new defensive coordinator comes in and cuts the playbook almost in half because it's an extremely complex defense. Now, the good news is you've had a lot of these players that have been there for a while, so they are familiar with the scheme. But if you have to bring in some new players or if somebody gets injured, it's really, really difficult. That's kind of the reason why, James, I'm assuming because you got the Lions logo here that you're a Lions fan. That's kind of the reason why I've been anti-Lion here is because that defense that they play in Detroit's extremely complex. So, yeah, you know what? I can see that, but let me ask you something, man. I mean, I don't know how much you travel or not, but here in the Midwest, it was like 90 degrees all weekend, and then Monday it's 50. It went from summer to fall like in a 4-hour period. But let's say you live up in the Boston area. Don't you want to come down to Miami like in January? Wouldn't that be like the perfect getaway? So that's kind of my thought process myself, man. If I was a Patriots fan, I would love to go. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience here because I would never go to Oakland. You can give me free tickets, I would never go to Oakland. I am going to go to a Vegas game. I mean, it may not even be a Chiefs game, but yeah, I'll travel to Vegas. I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly. And that was one thing I'm curious because I forget the tight end's name, but I know he's like a 6'7" guy. I know he's 34. He had 7 touchdowns last year, but only like 30 catches. How much of an impact is he going to have on the season? Because he's a big target. He's a big target. It's going to be really interesting. The Texans have a really interesting offense. I think that even though Bill O'Brien gets blasted, I kind of like what they're doing. They're going with a lot of speed. David Johnson, don't forget, he's still a 230-pound dude. And the offensive line is going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better. Okay, James. Okay, this is why I'm not high on the Lions. And a lot of people are. If Stafford comes back at 100%, that's all key. Any guy who's out and then he comes back, you can't sit here and just pencil Stafford as a top 10 quarterback. And that's kind of what I want to see. To tell you the truth, I actually like the Bears in that game. And I'm going to break down if you, hopefully, hey James, listen, Friday, when I'm thinking about doing a live stream on Friday, we're going to break down all week 1 games. We'll talk a lot about the Bears and Lions. I really want to break that game down. My buddy was just talking about the Bears earlier. There's some big positives on the Bears. Vegas is very high on the Lions, and I want to find out why. I want to find out why because there's a lot of money on the Lions. The over-under for the year went from 6.5 to 7. Only Detroit and Dallas has gone up. And I want to find out why because I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, they combined. I don't know. I have no idea what that means. I love DeAndre Swift. I wanted him here in Kansas City and going. If Detroit can get creative and keep Swift on the field and give him about 15 to 20 touches a game right away. Oh, by the way, I love Adrian Peterson going there. I love Adrian Peterson going there. Yeah, this was a big reason why cause and effect. The Raiders Panthers game opened up with the Raiders being a 1-point dog. They're now a 2.5-point favorite. I think the Raiders win big, and that's the reason why. When I say big, I think double digits. I mean, it could be 27-17, but that was the reason why I put 300 on the Raiders, and then I got a $100 parlay. Hopefully you watched the video with the shitty sound. And again, hey, James, since you're just kind of joining, if there's some sound issues, it's my fault. I'm having some computer problems, so I am sorry about the sound issues. I'm going to try to get it fixed. Maybe not by Friday, but by next Wednesday, sound will be better. Yeah. No, not. Hey, James, I hope you're there, because I really want to talk about the Bears and the Lions quite a bit. I think this is going to be a fun game, to tell you the truth, and I kind of want to see how Trubisky does, because I have no faith in the Lions defense. They run a very complex defense. They got about 5 to 6 new starters. And then and I got in an argument with a Lions fan. He kept on trying to tell me Lions are going to be good on defense, and that Okafor is going to be a great starter day one. They don't play man defense like they play. The defense that the Lions play doesn't even exist at college. He tried arguing, and here's the drill. I flat out had to hit him with, "Hey, are you putting action down on the Lions?" And then he stopped arguing, because he doesn't really believe it. He doesn't really believe it. It is going to be a fun fight. I had the Vikings. Winning that division. Daniel Hunter being out for at least 3 weeks is a big loss. I mean, the guy had 29 sacks over the last 2 years. Remember, they lost a bunch of starters, so losing Hunter, that's going to be big, especially week 1, because if the Packers go to Minnesota and win that game, watch out. Watch out. Correct. And one of these days I need to do like a 101 football betting video, because there's something, and I know Tim knows it. It's called going on tilt. And a lot of times when you miss a bet, you want to make it up immediately. You gotta plan out when you bet and stick to it. Don't just bounce all around all over the place. And I'll do like a 101 video here. So I hope so. I hope so, because I loved watching Swift in college. Okay, good. No, James, jump in as much as you can. And Mike, you know what? You're right. But one thing I do want to point out is that I think it's very important to don't just if you're watching a game and then you see the line jump, just don't jump on it right away. But excuse me. Let's say, for example, okay, let's talk about a game I might put action on week 2, Chiefs and Chargers. Right now, I think the Chiefs are a 6.5-point favorite. Well, let's say the Chiefs and Texans play. Let's just say, hypothetically, the Texans win and that line jumps down. Well, then, yeah, I may want to go ahead and jump on the Chiefs, because I think Chiefs are going to win that game by double digits. Right. And keep in mind, the Chargers are going to go to Cincinnati. They're probably going to win that game. I'm surprised that I read your comment and I said the same thing. Yeah, James, thanks, brother. So it is important that you kind of watch the line, but it has to jump the way that you want it to jump. For example, I had the Chiefs at 11.5. And it was at -140, then dropped down to like -120. I'm keeping an eye on that, because I didn't like 11.5. I didn't put action on it. So James had some great comments. They could. Okay, James. They could, if Stafford comes back healthy. Stafford has to come back healthy. I've heard great things about Hawkinson. I loved Hawkinson. They also, I worry about the offense. When I watched them last year, and I watched them last year after Stafford. It's not a it's not a very creative offense from what I've seen, and it needs to be because they got a lot of interchangeable pieces. They can figure out a way to use Hawkinson and Swift really well this year. It's going to be a fun team to watch. But ultimately, James, I hate to tell you this, I think the Lions are in for a bad season, but I've been saying this since the offseason. Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator, I think he's going to be the Lions head coach in 2021, and that will be a really fun team to watch. So this is the comment I saw in here. Man, I love talking football. So, man, hey, every Wednesday, 7 p.m., and then this Friday, I'm going to try to go ahead and do another one Friday. So, man, hey, thanks for the commenting. So, hey, man, hey, this is the whole point of the show, and I'm going to be very clear. Just because I say something doesn't mean that it's a fact. It doesn't mean that everything that I say is going to happen. I love it when people give me the thumbs up, but I really love it when you say, hey, Dan, I see you're over here, but I'm going to jump over here. For example, my boy Mike was telling me, Dan, you're sleeping on Tampa Bay. You're sleeping on Tampa Bay. Don't sleep on the Bucks. And now that, I'm like looking at stat, I'm looking at Fournette. I'm like, oh man, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. I can agree with that. I'll tell you. Do you remember how bad they were? I'm trying to remember. Did you have somebody? But when you had drawing a blank now. He's in Minnesota. Gary Kubiak. Okay, you had Gary Kubiak. Didn't you have somebody in between Kubiak and Bill O'Brien? I don't remember. For those of you who don't remember, Bill O'Brien went to Penn State after the scandal, and he did a great job at Penn State. He ended up getting, I wouldn't say, it wasn't Christian McCaffrey. Anyway, he's Hackenberg. He was number one prospect coming out of high school, and he found a way to bring him in there. And he was the Patriots offensive coordinator, and he was doing a really good job there at Penn State. And then all of a sudden the Texans job came open. It was kind of a surprise move. I think he's done a really good job in Houston, but Texans fans hate the guy. So, all right, man. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to watch if a game jumps, but one thing is that I want to avoid, when it comes to gambling, don't go on tilt. Whatever you do, don't go on tilt. If you lose a week, for example, let's just say it's 21-17 Thursday night, and I lose $400. I'm not going to go ahead and run to the casino Saturday and put some extra down so I can make up the losses. Never do that. So, man, I'm sorry, James. I don't even know. I got loaded down comments too here. Westgate does too. When I was at Westgate, when me and my buddy went to Westgate, we were watching the Chiefs Patriots. This was 2017. This is the Kareem Hunt show, if you remember that. But the Chiefs won the game. People made fun of me because I was going to put heavy action on the Chiefs to cover 9 points. Chiefs ended up winning that game. And there was a lot of in-game action. My buddy was tempted when the Patriots jumped up early in the game, and then the line switched to the Chiefs to win. He was like, maybe I should. And I said, go ahead. I'm staying put. I already made my bets. I'm going to let it go. And then as the Chiefs are winning, he's like, oh, we should have put action down. And then he got hooked on the action, and I think he ended up playing blackjack. He said he won, but he's that guy, like, he didn't have any money, but supposedly he won a couple hundred playing blackjack. So this is going to be an interesting game, and you're 100% correct. Is that the Bears corners are the weakness. I love Eddie Jackson, and that linebacking core is really, really good. This is a key thing about the Chiefs. The Chiefs always are key to have a big backup. Signing the MU quarterback. I am drawing a complete blank now. Come on, the backup quarterback. He was with the Bears. Now he's with Detroit. That was a great signing, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. He was in Kansas City for a long time, and I watched him play at MU. Me and Tim actually saw him play. No, that wasn't him. But damn. Oh, okay, James. Okay, I remember that. Yeah. Let me ask you this here. I don't think he's penciled in as a starter. He should be. He should be, though. He should be. Chase Daniel. And you're correct. You can do live action on your phone. So, man. Was he really? Because I know he was with Denver for a long time. I think he played his whole career in Denver. But if you're going to tell me he's a Lion, I'm a little surprised because I know he backed up Elway for a long time. Mike, you're 100% correct. I know this, even though I don't like doing this. But for the 15 for the Chiefs to win. Then when they went up by 10 points, the score was 20-10. I put my I only put $50, but it was like at plus 225 to win. So yeah, be careful about doing this. I can't advise this enough. Be very careful. Plan out doing this before. And I'm trying not to take too much time here, but okay, let's say, for example, the Chiefs and Texans. If you think, for example, like I do, Chiefs are going to win. If you have the Texans jump up to an early 10-0 lead, you can take some in-game action on the Chiefs, but make sure that's in your bankroll and make sure you have that planned. So have a bankroll ready, have everything set out, have everything prepared. I would actually advise you to write it down. Like, let's say you have $500 that you can spend on in-game action. Say, okay, well, if the Texans jump up or in the first quarter, I'll put 100 or 20%, whatever you want to do. It's very important that if you're going to go ahead and do this, don't just wing it. Don't just be impromptu. Don't throw your money away. So have a plan, stick to the plan. And if you need more detail, you can always email me and I'll help you out. Yeah, Chase Daniel. It took me a while to remember his name. Every now and then I get tripped up on names. But yeah, let me ask you this here, James. Is Reggie Ragland starting? My boy Luke G said had a video. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing. He was talking about Jared Davis being elite, which I don't see myself, but I know he watches more Lions than I do, but I was really hoping Ragland would be a starter opposite Davis. But you also got Kyle Van Noy? Is that right? So I don't think Ragland's going to start. And it's a shame because when he was inserted into the starting lineup here in Kansas City, Chiefs defense just metamorphosized. We were a bad defense. We turned into a really good defense. We got really hot the last 6 games of the season where we ended up going 6-0. Another thing I really like about Reggie Ragland is that he was a team captain. Even though he was benched, everybody raved about him. He kept his head up, and that's really important for a team like Detroit, who won 3 games. You need leaders. You need a change in the locker room. And the reason why I say that is because Darius Slay had a lot of bad things to say. Normally you don't want to go ahead and burn your bridges like what Slay did, but it leads me to believe that there's some issues in the Lions locker room. At least there was last year, but you ended up bringing in some leaders and some veterans. Hopefully I've gotten a lot of love from Detroit. So I really want Detroit to do well. I'm really pulling for Detroit, but when I look at them from a logic standpoint, I'm looking at a quarterback who's hurt. No. The guy they signed from New England this year. And I'm drawing a blank on his name. I do this every now and then. I just get a brain freeze with names. I'm looking it up right now. No, you're right. It is Collins. No, you're right. Collins going to mix with Flowers. You're right. You know what? I'm okay. My boy Luke G had a video talking about him being elite. I don't see that, but I absolutely loved him coming out of Florida. I loved Jared Davis coming out of Florida, and he just didn't have some good years. He just didn't have some good years. So, dude, here's the deal. This is really funny. This weekend it was 90. Monday it was 50. and it was just crappy. Seriously, it was like I'm built for the heat. I'm built for the heat. As a matter of fact, I should move to Vegas. I don't know why I don't, but it's really weird here. We have a saying here in the Midwest: if you don't like the weather, wait a half an hour, it'll change. Yeah, and that's actually something I don't like about Patricia. It's going to be interesting to see how this works because, excuse me, the defense is so complicated, and you have 5 to 6 new starters. Are you going to dumb it down, or are you just going to try to get everybody to get on page really fast? Because with everything that happened in this offseason, it's just really, really difficult to see everybody getting on the same page right away. And that's something I really, really worry about when I look at the Detroit Lions, is because that defense is so complicated. Is everybody going to be able to get on the same page? I don't think they will. And I think they're going to struggle early in the season. So. I preach this, Mike. You got to be organized when it comes to sports betting, and I'm going to explain. Let me rephrase that. I bet organized, but I'm trying to make a profit. There's lots of people out there that just, they want to put $100 down, and it's a little more exciting. It's a little more fun. I don't preach that. I think it's more fun when you go and you're at that cashier's cage, and she's just, it could be a guy, but usually every cashier in Vegas I've been to has been handing out hundreds. Now keep in mind at William Hill Sportsbook, the manager, his name was Dave. We had a long conversation. He didn't tell me about the special that if you bet online with the app, you get an extra $50. I'm kind of pissed at that, but that's okay. That's okay. You are right, and yeah, I meant Jamie Collins. Kyle Van Noy was the other one I got too. So 90 to 50. It's goofy here, man. It is so goofy, but it went from like summer to like pre-winter. It's not really fall. It's even colder in fall. It's okay. You're in the same Michigan, and. It weather here in the Midwest. I'm built for the heat. All right, I'm built for the heat. I love outside when being outside when it's hot, But that's just how it is, So I'm gonna tell you something. When you have a cashier, when you're at the cashier's cage and you're handing in that bet slip, for example, let's just show you. I'm gonna show you the bet slip here. I actually spilled coffee on this. If you're wondering, this is coffee. I just spilled this right as I was going live. I don't know if you can see this. The camera plays a little tricky on you, but hopefully you can see 300 to win 270. Now, keep in mind, this is only going to be a couple hundred, so it sounds good. But when you have a cashier doing over a grand, when a couple thousand, it's better than sex. I don't care how good you are at it or how hot she is. I'm telling you right now, when you have a cashier that's giving you a couple thousand, especially in Vegas, it's better than sex. I don't know how I'm going to feel going to William Hill and having that having Dave give me out a grand. If all three of my bets hit, I'm only gonna well, actually, if all three hit, I'll take home little over 1,500. So. You know what, man? I probably should head down. I've been to Florida a couple times and I loved it. I went 2 years ago. It was like an ice storm here. It was like 75 there. I wore shorts and I loved it. We did not have any tornadoes. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. You're going to think I'm full of shit. You're going to think I'm full of shit. This is true. This is true. Tim will back me up if he's still on. When tornadoes hit here in the Midwest, we go outside. It's like a party. I'm not joking. When a tornado hits, we're outside. We're outside checking it out with cameras. We're videotaping the damn thing. Yeah. You're going to think I'm making this up. This is true. When there's a tornado, When a tornado hits, we're outside with cameras videotaping it. So, yeah, it's true story, true story. So, actually, let me go back because I really like the Texans draft, but I am drawing a complete blank on who they picked. But I did like their draft. I really did. Let me see here. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'll be honest. You know what? I don't know too much about Reed, but Isaiah Coulter, your 5th-round pick, I really like that kid, especially in the 5th round. He's a big athletic kid. I think he made your team. I don't know how he's going to impact this year. Small school guy. Charlie Hecht is that. I thought that was kind of a wasted pick because you spent all that money on Tunzel, then you used the first pick on the kid out of South Alabama. But here's a guy, he's a perfect backup. And then Jonathan Greenyard is perfect for the Houston Texans. He's exactly what you want. Long, athletic, and Ross Blacklock I loved out of TCU. And I thought that was a great pick. So, yeah, they did have a really good draft. Yeah. Yeah, I 100%. Greenyard is a guy that, like, when he was being scouted and everything, I remember thinking to myself, that's a Houston Texans type of player, because that's something the Houston Texans love, these tall, long, athletic guys. It's like they like power forwards. You remember like the I just got done watching it not too long ago. With the Chicago, The Last Dance, that's what I was trying to think of. And you remember that Bulls defense, Pippen and Jordan and Rodman, they were all like long, athletic guys. That's kind of like what Houston Texans front seven reminds me of, both Cunningham and, what's his, anyway, they're both like 6'4", 6'5", really long guys, very athletic. Both these guys can run. It's Cunningham, and that's going to drive me nuts. I literally was just talking about him not too long ago. It's not Merciless. Boy, you guys, here I am. I'm sitting here trying to pretend like I'm an expert on football, and I'm drawing a blank on names. But it's who's the other inside linebacker besides Cunningham? Oh, McGinley. Yeah, I know he played at Mississippi State, but I love those guys. Long, athletic, can move. Yeah, so I really like Greenyard quite a bit, and Blacklock should have gone in the first round. I had him going in the first round originally, believe it or not. But yeah, they had some really good picks. So and also they gave up. Remember, they gave up a 2nd-round pick for was it a yeah, I think the 2nd-round pick to the Rams for Brandon Cooks. Keep in mind, if Cooks is healthy and Fuller's healthy, these are both legitimate number 1 receivers. One runs a 4.31, one runs a 4.33. It's funny, the Chiefs call themselves the Legion of Zoom, but they're going against an offense with, as far as wide receivers, are just as fast. So, yeah. There's talent. There's talent. Or earlier in the show, I went through some of the players that they signed on defense, thanks to the DeAndre Hopkins, because bottom line, they weren't going to be able to keep DeAndre Hopkins. It was just a financial decision. So, and you're right. Watts is a guy. I think, to tell you the truth, I think in the if you're playing a standard 4-3 defense, he's a perfect defensive tackle, but his best fit's used as a 3-4 defensive end. But usually a 3-4 defensive end doesn't get 20 sacks in a season. Watt did it twice, which is almost impossible. But usually what happens is when they play nickel, they switch him to the inside, but he can play outside. But you're right. You're 100% correct. He's not the same guy anymore. But it'll be interesting to see, because I know that playoff game, and I know it's going to sound terrible, but he was actually a liability. He was a liability. He wasn't the same guy. I think he was like maybe 60%. He was about 60%. That's the thing. That's a big reason why I took the over, because both these guys are going to be healthy week 1. And while these guys are healthy, this offense is so dangerous. This is so dangerous. Dude, we got Tyreek Hill. We have another guy. It was funny because what happened was DeAndre Swift was brought into Georgia. There was a 5-star running back by name of Miracle Hardman. When they brought in Swift, they told Hardman, "You got to learn how to play wide receiver. We got DeAndre Swift here." And the Chiefs drafted him in the second round, and I blasted the Chiefs. I didn't like the pick, but he ended up going to the Pro Bowl as a punt and kick returner. The Chiefs have big plans for him this offseason because he's been working out with Tyreek Hill, put on some muscle so he can handle the wide receiver role, and they've been working out together. Tyreek Hill, former running back, now turned wide receiver. Same thing for Miracle Hardman. He got benched or switched to receiver because they had DeAndre Swift. That's kind of an interesting side note. I didn't like it because he was a project, played a lot more than I thought he would, and he's going to have a big impact. That's the scary thing about the Chiefs is because in order to beat Kansas City, here's what you have to do. You have to double cover Kelsey. He's the Chiefs' number one weapon. All right? He's the number one wide receiver. I know he's called a tight end. He's listed as a tight end. You gotta take Kelsey away if you want to beat Kansas City. You just have to do it. Then you can't allow Hill over the top. But the problem is you got Miracle Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, and now you got CEH who can all hurt you. But you got to take those two guys away. You got to take Kelsey. You got to take Hill away. Then you got those other three guys. And then, of course, you got to take the improvisational skills of Patrick Mahomes away too. But bottom line, if the Texans want to beat the Chiefs, they have to figure a way to take Travis Kelsey away and then don't let Hill beat you deep. If you can do those two things, then the Houston Texans have a really good chance. Yeah, he had 2 seasons of over 20 sacks. Only 2 players in the history of the NFL. I talked about one earlier, in Alan Page, and I could go on and on and on about Alan Page. Alan Page and Lawrence Taylor are the only 2 players in the history of the NFL to be NFL MVPs as defensive players. But yeah, Watt probably should have got MVP. Probably would have got MVP. Yeah, you're right. You are right about that, but keep in mind, he could have threw for 2 of those touchdowns. And bottom line, you know what? I don't want to I'm not going to get back on here. I don't want to get too torn away. But the thing is about that game, what really killed the Lions, and this is something that Matt Patricia really struggles with, was time management. The Lions were driving inside of 4 minutes. The score at the time was 27-23. The Chiefs had the lead. And what the Lions did is they were around midfield, and they were moving the ball all over Kansas City. Kansas City's Chiefs, the defense could not stop the Lions. So what the Lions did is they went deep, and they got the ball inside the red zone. It was a pass to Marvin Jones that the Lions got on the 8-yard line with like 3.5 minutes left. And I remember thinking to myself, whew, because they're going to score, and they scored too fast. They allowed the Chiefs had, I think, all 3 timeouts plus 2.5 minutes remaining, and they went ahead and hey, look, they're only up by 3 points. So worst case scenario, it's going into overtime. Then it's just a case of who wins a coin flip. But what happened was what I expected to happen was the Chiefs just scored a touchdown. But bottom line, if Patricia maximized the clock and didn't go deep, because it was like a 40, it was actually, I think it was like a 33-yard completion to get down to the 8. But bottom line, if he checks it down and they just eat like an extra minute of the clock, then you allow, you got to get a minute 30. That's a whole different. It doesn't sound like much, but a minute 30 and 3 touchdowns, and 2 minutes and 30 with 3 timeouts. I said touchdowns. I meant timeouts. It's a big deal because you get the 2-minute warning. You can completely use the whole playbook, and that's what screwed the Lions. And so, yeah, the Lions defense is bad, but excuse me. Yeah, I shoved some food down before I did my live stream, so my apologies. Yeah, I question Matt Patricia's time management, and hopefully the defense is not going to be as complicated as it was because they have too many starters. And by the way, if you're going to put Okuda as a pure man corner as a rookie, you're going to be doomed for failure. I'm going to tell you right now. I think that Eric Bieniemy is going to reunite with John Dorsey in Detroit, and you guys are going to be very, very happy with that. Hey man, do what you need to do. We've been going on an hour 30. You're right. I'm gonna tell you something. I was really high on the Lions last year, and you had a ton of injuries. I love Matthew Stafford. When I went on the Luke G show, I was shocked at how many people were unhappy with Stafford in Detroit, not just fans, but media. I was in shock because the one thing I said about the Lions is that, hey, you got a great quarterback. You got to fix the defense. And then they wanted to go old school with Patricia, get TJ Hawkinson, who's a blocking tight end, run the ball. But, you know, that's kind of how I see things going. I don't either. Here's the thing, Alex. I think the Lions are going to clean house. I think Bob Quinn and Patricia are gone after this year. I think they're going to be replaced with John Dorsey and Eric Bieniemy. John Dorsey, the former Chiefs general manager who went to Cleveland, orchestrated the OBJ trade. I think he's going to take over in 2021. And the reason why is because he was a part of the Green Bay for a very long time. So he's familiar with that division. There's not 15 better general managers in football than John Dorsey, who's currently unemployed. He'll be a general manager in 2021, and I think Detroit's the perfect place. I think he'll bring in Eric Bieniemy, who should have. I don't want to kind of dig into that nest of worms there. I'm great with lay a duck, nest of worms, but. Bottom line, Eric Bieniemy should be an NFL head coach, and I think he will be in 2021. I think he'll be in Detroit. You are correct. He was having a great season. He was having an MVP type season, but zero chance he wins MVP even if he plays 16 games, just because what Lamar Jackson did. Was so, but I've always been very, very high on Matthew Stafford. I think it's a damn shame that the Detroit Lions haven't been able to do everything they can to maximize him. I didn't like the hire before Patricia. God, what was his name? He was the Colts offensive coordinator. Anyway, I didn't like that fit. I thought they should have went with the defensive guy earlier in Stafford's career, and I think Patricia, to be honest, is just over his head. But I remember him during his playing days. Jim Caldwell, that's the coach's name here. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if they reboot again. I didn't think Krasinski was the right hire because when he went to Minnesota, I thought it was a really bizarre fit, but then when they brought in Gary Kubiak, if you watch the Minnesota Vikings last year, they ran a Gary Kubiak offense, not a Krasinski offense. Krasinski is a guy that I think got lucky in Minnesota because he was able to parlay being in Minnesota one year, running a Kubiak offense into a head coaching gig. There is so much talent in Cleveland, but the organization top to bottom is just so god awful. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and you may have to deal with another head coach. It could also be Eric Bieniemy. So, are you talking about Eric Bieniemy here? Because I know he played for the Chargers. I didn't know he was a Falcon. I know he's a Bengal. I want to tell you something. Eric Bieniemy, when he was in college, I loved him at University of Colorado. They did. Oh God, okay. I'm going to ramble on, so I'm just going to kind of just stop talking about that there. But yeah, he did play for the Falcons. I know he played for the Bengals and Chargers. I didn't know he was a Falcon. But I think he's going to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions in 2021. He is going to be an NFL head coach. The reason why I think he's going to go into Detroit is because Detroit went Caldwell, who was an offensive guy. They went with Patricia as a defensive guy. I think they're going to go back to offense. I also think that what they've done in the past is they said, okay, well, we're going to take Caldwell as part of the Indianapolis Colts, off of a very successful organization. That's just business 101. You mimic what a successful franchise has done. Well, the Indianapolis Colts kept on winning 10 plus games year after year after year. So take the offensive coordinator who worked with Peyton Manning, put him with Matthew Stafford, who's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, but hasn't been able to get a lot of wins. That made a lot of sense. So, but it didn't work out. So what do? You go to the defensive side, and then you go ahead and you pick from the best franchise in the NFL, which is the New England Patriots. So what's the next step? Well, go after a guy from the Kansas City Chiefs, because that's what the Lions have done in the past. So that's why I think you're going to get Dorsey and Bieniemy up in Detroit. It just seems to make sense. It's funny. I can't really disagree with that. The owner of the Browns actually got his money from he was actually under a indictment for a while because he was the owner of all those Flying J's and was worth a ton of money. And just for fun, he bought a franchise, which is pretty much what Jerry Jones did. He just hasn't had the same what is it? I'm going to say internal input. He's kind of just, fired guys and threw money away, but he hasn't really gotten involved the same way that Jerry Jones did. But they're very similar owners, believe it or not. Very wealthy guys. It's just Jerry Jones had more of a football background than the owner of the Browns. I know he runs the Flying J's. I can't think of what his name is. There was talk about this. There was actually talk about Tony Dungy in Detroit. There was actually, I know Luke G wanted Rex Ryan. I'd never heard anything about that. I actually thought that Bob Sutton, former Chiefs defensive coordinator who worked with Rex Ryan, would be a good fit in Detroit, but they went with the kid out of Philly. I don't remember his name. Hopefully that works out for you guys. So listen, I'm going to tell you something. I am pulling for the Lions. I am pulling for the Lions. I want, you know what? If all those picks pan out, and there's a lot of reaches in those first 5 picks, because they had 3 number 1s, 2 number 2s. If all of them pan out, then I don't know. But you're not the only person. You're not the only person to think that. That was okay. I think the Eagles are going to win that division. The reason why I didn't put action down on them is Andre Dillard got hurt. They moved Jason Peters to inside. Then they said, okay, you're going to play left tackle. And he did the smart thing. He said, hey, look, I'll go to left tackle. You got to pay me more money. Smart on his part, but you have a 37-year-old left tackle who got demoted to guard. Put him out on the blind side. Carson Wentz has not been able to stay healthy. They were riddled with injuries last year. Now, I still think the Eagles are going to win that division. I really do, but I'm not going to put action on it. Dallas easily has the most talent, but they're building from a foundation. I think 2021 Cowboys are scary. 2020, I think, is going to be about an 8-8 team, and I think they're going to be very disappointed. Hey, man. Hey, thanks, brother. Hey, if you're still tuned in, Tim, I'm leaning towards, I'm like 90% sure we're going to do a live stream Friday, so hopefully I can get to you there. I did not know this. I didn't know this. He actually got, he was actually in Kansas City. Kansas City for a while had a great coaching staff. It was Marty Schottenheimer. The defensive coordinator was Bill Cowher. Secondary coach was Tony Dungy. Special teams coach was Herm Edwards. Quarterbacks, it was either quarterbacks coach or running backs coach was Bruce Arians. And the offensive coordinator is a big name. Didn't do well as a head coach, but was a big name. So all right. Hey, man. Hey, James, man. Listen, I got lots of love for the Lions, but I think it's going to be a long year for you. I hope I'm wrong. And by the way, James, man, call me out if I am. you can always call me out. I will take it. I enjoy it. Hey man, and same thing. I think the Eagles are going to win that division, but the Cowboys are easily the most talented. Cowboys are easily the most talented, and I think the Eagles are going to win that division. James Hargrove is a very underrated signing, but they got him playing defensive tackle. He was in Pittsburgh. He's a run stuffing defensive tackle, and he played in that 3-4. So he's switching from 3-4 to a 4-3. But here's the defensive line. You got Brandon Graham, you got Fletcher Cox, you got Hargrove, and then you got the guy who broke Reggie White's record at Tennessee, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. He was first round pick a couple years ago. Mariucci, I did know, but the thing is that defensive line in Philly is really good, lots of talent, and that could be very dangerous. The secondary is interesting. When he's healthy, is easily a top 10 quarterback. I love, but you can't bank on him being healthy. Miles Sanders really turned it on last year. I like Philly to win the division, but you saw I didn't put action on it. You're in Texas, so even though I know a lot of Cowboys fans, most people agree with me, but some disagree. I always thought Jimmy Johnson was much more the reason for them having success in winning those Super Bowls than Jerry Jones. And I always believe that. And I think that with Jerry Jones can just sit back, enjoy the franchise, because he does. I'm going to be very clear. He does a lot of really good things. They have first rate everything. And that's something I really like. You know that if you go to the Dallas Cowboys, whether you're an undrafted rookie or a free agent who's going to make millions and millions of dollars, you're going to a first-rate franchise in the Dallas Cowboys. That is an absolute fact, and that's something I love about Jerry Jones. Everything's first-rate about the Dallas Cowboys. Everything's cutting edge. That Jerry world, they charge, I think it's something like $30-$40 for tours. I had a buddy of mine did it, and he said it was awesome. I wouldn't mind doing it. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, and I would pay the $30-$40 to go through Jerry World. But he does need to step away. You're correct. I did know this. Jimmy, I've been waiting for you to show up. Yes, you know what? I almost put action on it because it was at plus 200. Didn't you get plus 122? And now you can get plus 200. I'm pulling for you. I agree with you. I do like the Eagles to win the division, but I didn't put action on it because it scares me. It scares me a lot because Dillard on the left side can stay healthy. But yes, I like Philly to win the division. I'm glad you joined. I'm on board. Hopefully you watched my videos and you saw all the action I put down for preseason, and I also have action on Thursday night. So you got plus 122 with Bovado, if I remember right. So, yeah, man, I'm pulling for you. I forgot what we were talking. Best defense for week 1 matchups. Oh, man. You know what? I hate to do this to you, but we've been on the air for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. If it's okay, if you need it done, shoot me an email. I'll tell you right now, don't take Houston or Kansas City. This is going to be a shootout. I know I want to say Bills and Jets. I would probably go with either one of those. And the reason why I say the Jets over the Bills, I know a lot of talk about Diggs going to Buffalo, and there's a lot of hype. But the Jets defense, I actually, even though they have they lose Jamal Adams, I do like the Jets defense. I think week 1 against the Bills. Remember last year they played, the Bills won 16-15. The Bills had to score a late touchdown, but they were almost dominated for 3.5 quarters. I could see that being an interesting matchup. Let's table this. Let me do some looking and some research, and I'll get you an answer for Friday's show. Worst case scenario, shoot me an email and we'll go into some detail because I know you want to put some action down. I'll give you a better answer next week here. J.J. Watt's still a good player. He's just not the same guy anymore. Because I would have said a couple of years ago he's better than Aaron Donald. There's no comparison. Aaron Donald's much better than J.J. Watt. And Rooster, man, you do not ever have to apologize, my brother. But I will say that, hey, man, I'm the one who's giving you the shitty speakers here. You got that popping noise. That's on me. I probably won't have that fixed by Friday, but next Wednesday I should have it fixed. Listen, guys. Hey, listen, man. We're going to go with 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, so it'll be 8 up in Detroit. Instead of just doing a show on Wednesday, I'm gonna try to do Wednesday and Friday. And by the way, here, just in case you guys, you can always email me. I'll do my best to answer the emails within 24 hours, especially if you have some action down. So, hey, man, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Oh, Jimmy Johnson. Okay. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, man. Hey, man. Hey, guys, listen, thanks for everything. This is what if I win $1 billion, this is what I'm doing. Just talking football. So, hey, listen, thanks for joining the show. Friday, 7 p.m. I'm going to give it a go. Hopefully you guys all join up. Hopefully the Chiefs and Texans will cover 54.5 for me. So, hey, man, good luck. If you need anything, shoot me an email, and hopefully I see you guys Friday.